Have you ever looked in the mirror and thought, who is this person? Do you wake up exhausted, overwhelmed by even the smallest task, or find yourself in tears without even knowing why? Does it feel like your mind, your body, and your emotions are spinning out of control? And the worst part, no one prepared you for this. And if you're nodding yes, then you're exactly where you need to be because what you're experiencing isn't in your head. And it's not just getting older either. It's menopause. And while it can feel terrifying and isolating, you don't have to navigate it alone. And in today's episode, we are breaking down the silence and tearing down the myths about menopause once and for all. You're going to discover the hidden hormonal chaos behind your confusion. You're going to learn why your emotions feel hijacked, get practical tools to calm the storm, and hear real stories from women just like you. Plus, a special Q&A where I answer your most pressing questions on today's topic. Now, if you're ready to move beyond fear and start feeling seen, understood, and empowered, stay with me because what you'll learn today could change everything. Welcome to the Mr. Menopause Show. Hey there, it's Tafiq Akhir, Mr. Menopause here, your certified and award-winning menopause and healthy aging strategist, educator, best-selling author, and your host. Now, if you're watching or listening right now, then you might feel like you've woken up inside a stranger's body. One day you're breezing through meetings or errands, and the next you're sobbing in your car for no reason. Or maybe you're lying awake at 3 a.m. and your mind is stuck on a loop of what is happening to me. And then maybe you just caught yourself saying things like, I feel like I'm losing myself, or I don't recognize myself anymore, or maybe even, I don't even know what I feel like from 1 hour to the next. And then there's the worst one, the one you're too embarrassed to say out loud. What if I'm actually going crazy? Well, listen, I'm here to tell you with every fiber of my being, you're not crazy, you're not broken, but you are most likely going through one of the 3 stages of menopause. And it's a wild, messy, and powerful transition that too few women are prepared for. Well, I want you to imagine your life as a beautiful garden that you've tended for decades. You knew where the paths lead, which flowers needed extra sunlight, and when to expect each bloom. But then, almost overnight, the garden changes. The paths shift, the flowers wilt, and new thorny plants sprout up without warning. Well, that's what menopause can feel like. Your familiar self is rearranged beyond recognition. And this isn't poetic language either. It's neuroscience, and studies published in Nature's Review Endocrinology show that during perimenopause, estrogen levels can spike and plummet unpredictably, sometimes within days. And since estrogen plays a crucial role in mood regulation, cognition, and even pain perception, its fluctuations can make everything feel foreign. And I'll let you in on something that I hear in nearly every private conversation with my clients. Things like, I'm terrified to admit how bad I feel. Or no one warned me that this could happen. And then everyone talks about hot flashes, but no one talks about the emotional tornado. Because look, the truth is, the first signs of menopause for many women are not physical. They're actually emotional. Waves of sadness that seem to come from nowhere. Anxiety that feels like it's choking you. Anger that makes you snap at people that you love for things that you would normally just brush off. Well, a study in the Journal of Women's Health found that up to 70% of women in perimenopause report new or worsening mood swings, and many are misdiagnosed with depression or anxiety disorders instead of getting real menopause support. Well, that's not sad, it's actually infuriating, and it's why you might feel lost, alone, and convinced that something is deeply wrong with you. Well, let me break it down. See, menopause is a massive neuroendocrine event, basically a brain-body revolution that starts with hormones and echoes through every part of your life. Estrogen and progesterone, which are your longtime hormonal companions, well, they don't just affect your periods or fertility. they keep your neurotransmitters, which is your brain's chemical messengers, running smoothly. And when those hormones start to fluctuate, or your brain's serotonin, which is the feel-good chemical, and the dopamine, which is the motivation and reward chemicals, well, they get thrown off like a ship that's caught in a storm. So if you feel like you can't control your emotions, or if you swing between confidence and despair like a pendulum on overdrive, well, it's not because you're weak. It's because your brain is trying to adjust to a whole new hormonal reality. Now, a 2021 study from the North American Menopause Society, well, they found that these shifts can affect not just mood, but also sleep, energy, concentration, and even how you process sensory information. So that background noise, the bright lights, or normal social interactions that are suddenly feeling overwhelming, well, that's an effect of menopause. Now, one of the cruelest parts of menopause isn't the symptoms itself, it's the suffocating silence around them. See, society teaches women to joke about hot flashes or to hide their real struggles. Doctors are rarely trained to connect emotional symptoms to menopause, so when women do show up saying that they're scared or sad or confused, well, they get handed antidepressants or told to practice mindfulness, right? Well, let me share the story of my client, Sandra. She's a sales rep who could juggle meetings, deadlines, and family life with ease until menopause blindsided her. She said, I thought I had early dementia. She confessed that during our very first session, actually. She said, I was forgetting appointments, stumbling over words, and zoning out mid-conversation. But I was too embarrassed to tell anyone, and I thought I'd be labeled incompetent at work or crazy by my family. Well, Sandra's story isn't rare. It's the hidden pandemic of menopause confusion, and it thrives in silence. But let me be clear. The more we talk about it, the less power it has over you. Now, your brain on hormonal havoc, well, here's what's really happening. See, your brain has relied on a steady stream of estrogen for years to help keep your mood stable, your memory sharp, and your stress response reasonable, right? But now as estrogen levels bounce around like a toddler on a trampoline, well, your brain's delicate network of neurotransmitters, well, it starts firing off frantic alarms. You might suddenly feel anxiety that makes your heart race at the thought of checking your email. Sadness that hits so hard that it feels physical. Brain fog that turns every to-do list into a maze of confusion, and none of these are character flaws, by the way. These are your brain's way of recalibrating during one of the biggest biological shifts of your life. And can we talk about cortisol, your stress hormone? Well, with estrogen dipping, cortisol often rises. And that's why small inconveniences like a late text or a misplaced key can send you spiraling into rage or despair. And it's also why your sleep might shatter into restless fragments, leaving you exhausted and irritable the next day. And the hardest part of all of this isn't always the symptoms. It's the feeling that you're navigating them all alone. Isolation can amplify every doubt, every fear, and every thought that maybe you're somehow to blame. So here's your permission slip, straight from Mr. Menopause himself. You do not have to suffer in silence. You do not have to minimize what you're feeling either. You deserve to be heard, understood, and supported. And if you don't think that you do, well, I want you to say this to yourself right now. This is hard, but it's real. And it's not my fault. Say it again with me. This is hard, but it's real, and it's not my fault. Because that is the truth. And the sooner you believe it, the sooner you can move forward and move towards healing. Now, before we continue, I want you to pause with me and take a deep breath. Inhale and big exhale. Relax your shoulders. Repeat after me. I am not crazy. I am not broken. I am in transition. See, you don't have to have all the answers today. You don't have to fix everything at once. You just have to start recognizing what's happening and knowing that you are far from alone in this journey. So I want you to pause here because you deserve to hear this directly. Menopause is not just a woman's health issue. It's a profound neurological, hormonal, and emotional metamorphosis. Yet despite its universal reach, it's almost criminally under-discussed. And because of that silence, you might find yourself feeling like you're failing simply for experiencing what it is. And you know what? What it is normal, actually, right? It's a natural transition that every woman will experience at some part of her midlife. And I've lost count of how many clients have told me, I thought menopause was just hot flashes. Why does it feel like my world is falling apart? In fact, one of my clients, Gina from Atlanta, she described it perfectly. She said, I felt like I was trying to run through thick mud with a blindfold on. Everything that used to be easy, thinking, sleeping, even smiling, suddenly felt impossible. And Gina's story resonates with so many of you because it's a lived reality that books, doctors, and even well-meaning friends rarely warn you about. And that's why I'm here, showing up for you with honesty, empathy, and a whole lot of evidence-based guidance because you deserve the truth, not more half answers. Now, let's take a quick dive into the science as well because facts are powerful antidotes to fear. And research published in Menopause, the Journal of the North American Menopause Society, shows that nearly 60% of perimenopausal women report sudden, intense anxiety, often described as a feeling of impending doom. Yet fewer than 30% receive information connecting it to hormonal shifts. A Harvard study on menopause and cognition confirmed what so many of you experience. As estrogen declines, the hippocampus, which is your brain's memory center, temporarily functions less effectively, leading to forgetfulness, brain fog that can feel like early dementia as well. Even more striking, the British Medical Journal found that menopause-related emotional symptoms are the second leading cause of workplace struggles for women ages 45 to 55, yet only 5% of women feel comfortable talking to their employers about it. And why share these numbers? Because knowing that what you're going through is common can actually help to lift the suffocating weight of shame and self-blame off of your shoulders. Now, let's get real again for a quick second because your body's not trying to ruin your life. It's trying awkwardly and even messily actually to shift from one hormonal ecosystem to another. And just like a house renovation, it can get chaotic before it settles. So when you suddenly snap at your partner for breathing too loudly or find yourself crying in the grocery store because they're out of your favorite yogurt, well, it does not mean you're unhinged. It means that your brain is in transition. Your cortisol is on high alert and you need compassion, not criticism. You know, I saw this quote somewhere and it's something that goes along the lines of like, menopause isn't like a moral test that you're failing. It's a biological event that you're surviving, often while crushing your day, keeping your family afloat, and just wondering if you might ever feel like yourself again. Now, I want you to think about a time in your life when you struggled. Maybe a tough breakup, a demanding job, or a family crisis. Chances are you offered understanding and patience to others who were going through it, right? Yet here you are in one of life's biggest transformations and you might be the last person you extend that same kindness to. Well, that stops today because offering yourself compassion doesn't mean giving up. It means equipping yourself with the patience and support that you need to heal. And as you begin to understand what's happening inside your body, you'll gain the clarity to respond with love instead of fear. Every day you show up, get out of bed, face the world, even when your body feels like it's betraying you, well, you are proving your strength. The courage that it takes to keep going when you're exhausted, emotional, and confused is something I wish that more people celebrated. So let's celebrate it here. You are stronger than you think, braver than you believe, and more capable than you feel. Now, by choosing to watch or listen to this episode, you've already taken the most important step. You've decided to face this head on instead of letting it control you in the dark. And guess what? That's not just brave, it's transformational. Because listen, coming up after this, we are going to go even deeper together. I'm going to walk you through exactly what's happening inside your body and your brain so that you can understand these confusing, intense emotions with crystal clarity. We'll take the power away from fear by shining a bright light of knowledge on what menopause is doing to your hormones, your neurotransmitters, and your nervous system. So stay with me because what you'll learn in the next segment could be the key to finally breaking free from the confusion and stepping into the power of understanding, hope, and confidence. See you after this.
Do you feel confused, anxious, or overwhelmed by menopause? If the answer is yes, don't let menopause hold you back another moment. Take the first step in controlling your long-term vitality with Mr. Menopause's complimentary Menopause Readiness Quiz. Tafiq Akhir, widely known as Mr. Menopause, is a licensed, certified, and award-winning menopause strategist and the go-to source for reliable menopause support. He knows that our level of menopause awareness will determine whether we thrive through menopause or barely survive it. Go to menopausereadinessquiz.com to simply answer 20 quick questions to receive personalized insights about your level of menopause awareness and get the tools to confidently take control of your menopause journey and improve your overall quality of life. Complete the Menopause Readiness Quiz today.
Welcome back. It's Tafiq Akhir, Mr. Menopause here, and I am so glad that you stayed with me. Now, if you're here, it means that you're ready to dig deeper and to learn what's really happening inside your body and brain during menopause. Because knowledge isn't just power, it's your best friend in reclaiming peace of mind. Now, in the first segment, I talked about how menopause can leave you feeling unrecognizable to yourself. Well, now we're going to pull back the curtain on the hormonal chaos that's causing those feelings so that you can stop fearing the unknown and start understanding the extraordinary transformation that you are living through. Now, let's start with the ringleader of this hormonal circus, which is estrogen. Now, this hormone isn't just about periods or pregnancy. It's a master regulator for your brain, bones, heart, metabolism, and so much more. During perimenopause, estrogen levels don't just steadily decline. They surge, crash, and spike unpredictably. One day, your estrogen might be sky high, making you feel anxious and jittery. The next day, it could nosedive, leaving you weepy, exhausted, or foggy-headed. This fluctuation can happen over hours, days, or weeks, and it's the suddenness of these swings that creates the emotional whiplash that so many women describe. As Dr. Nanette Santoro, a leading menopause researcher, puts it, the unpredictability of estrogen during perimenopause is what makes this time uniquely difficult for women. And look, and let's be honest, if estrogen's mood swings were a person, they'd be the friend who texts you 47 times in an hour and then ghosts you for a week, right? You never know what to expect and it drives you absolutely crazy. Well, now, while estrogen throws a dramatic tantrum, progesterone quietly leaves the building. Progesterone's job is to balance estrogen and help to keep you calm. It also promotes sleep and eases anxiety. But as ovulation becomes erratic, progesterone production dwindles, and with it goes your sense of equilibrium. Without enough progesterone, estrogen's highs can become more extreme, and your ability to manage stress or drift into restful sleep can evaporate. And this is why you might lie awake at night with your heart pounding over tomorrow's to-do list, or waking up in a cold sweat at 3 a.m. with your thoughts spiraling. It's like your mind can't find the off switch anymore, and that's not your fault. And then here's the plot twist that most people don't know. Menopause doesn't just alter reproductive hormones. It cranks up cortisol, which is your main stress hormone. And with estrogen dropping, your brain's natural braking system for stress becomes faulty, allowing cortisol to surge higher and stay elevated longer. This means that normal everyday stresses like traffic, deadlines, a messy house, well, they suddenly feel chaotic or catastrophic. You may feel overwhelmed, edgy, or like you're on the verge of tears all day. See, long-term elevated cortisol doesn't just mess with your mood. It can also lead to increased belly fat, blood sugar spikes, muscle loss, sleep disruptions, even higher risk for heart disease. And let's not forget that cortisol has a cruel sense of humor. Just when you think you're ready to rest, It decides you should stay awake, reliving that awkward comment that you made 3 weeks ago, right? Sound familiar? See, estrogen and progesterone are deeply tied to your brain's neurotransmitters. Serotonin, which is your mood stabilizer, dopamine, your motivation and reward system, and norepinephrine, which is your focus and energy driver. Well, when estrogen levels fluctuate wildly, these neurotransmitters become unstable, leading to mood swings, low motivation, irritability, and disorienting brain fog. A 2019 study in the Lancet Psychiatry found that women in perimenopause are up to 3 times more likely to develop symptoms of depression compared to perimenopausal women, and the root cause is these hormone neurotransmitter shifts. I've had clients describe this brain fog in unforgettable ways. One woman told me it felt like someone had replaced my brain with a cotton ball, while another jokingly said, it's like my thoughts are moving through molasses wearing clown shoes. And look, it's not just your hormones and neurotransmitters in chaos. Your autonomic nervous system, which controls your fight or flight response, well, it gets pulled into the fray as well. With fluctuating estrogen and rising cortisol, your nervous system can become stuck in a chronic state of high alert. And that's why you might feel jumpy or hypersensitive to noise, overwhelmed in crowds or social situations, or like you need to retreat, even from people you love. And the more this happens, the more that your body interprets these experiences as threats, reinforcing the stress response and creating a vicious cycle of anxiety, exhaustion, and frustration. Research in Frontiers in Neuroendocrinology shows that when this cycle isn't broken, it can lead to persistent changes in brain circuits, making it harder to bounce back from stress, especially when you feel unsupported. I read a story about a woman named Teresa who was quoted as saying, I started feeling like everyone was judging me if I lost my train of thought. I'd come home every day and sit in my car and cry before I walked inside. I felt humiliated and powerless. And again, Teresa's story, not unique. It's a testament of how menopause can shake up even the most confident, accomplished women to the core. Now, it's also a reminder that this experience doesn't discriminate based on strength, intelligence, or resilience. My client Lila, well, she shared, my husband thought I was angry at him all the time because I was so irritable. I wasn't mad at him. I was just terrified because I didn't understand why I felt so out of control. These stories prove that you're not alone or weak for feeling this way. You're in the thick of a neuroendocrine storm that needs relief. Now, this is the message that I want you to carry from today. Every emotional spike, every wave of sadness, every moment of brain fog is your body's way of trying to adapt to sudden, profound changes. You're not overreacting, you're not overloaded, and what you need isn't shame or to get over it. What you need is understanding, compassion, and practical strategies to help you regain your balance. And let me add this. You wouldn't blame a phone for shutting down when its batteries died, would you? So why blame yourself when your brain and body are running on fumes? Now, let me take a moment to celebrate something important with you. Now, while the hormonal chaos of menopause can feel like a curse, there's also a powerful potential in this transition. Neuroscientist Dr. Lisa Mosconi, author of The XX Brain, well, she shares that menopause is a time when the brain begins to rewire itself. That rewiring can initially cause fog, forgetfulness, or emotional swings, but it's also laying the foundation for a new phase of mental strength, creativity, and resilience, especially once your brain adapts to its new hormonal baseline. Now, I want you to imagine your brain like a beautiful city at night. Menopause may feel like a blackout at first, lights flickering, everything unfamiliar, but over time, the lights come back on in new patterns, revealing pathways that you never noticed before. Now, you might be wondering, if these intense changes are so common, why doesn't anyone warn you, right? Well, the answer is heartbreaking. Menopause has been shrouded in stigma and dismissal for centuries. Historically, women's health, especially hormonal health, was treated as a lesser medical priority. Until the 20th century, menopause was often described in textbooks as a sign of hysteria or moral decline. And let's be honest, traces of that outdated thinking still lingers today. A 2022 survey published in Maturitas found that 90% of women felt unprepared for menopause, and nearly half said they felt ashamed or embarrassed to talk about their symptoms with friends or family. And that silence isn't just frustrating. It's harmful. It leaves women suffering alone, believing that they're the only ones unraveling. But by talking openly, we dismantle the shame and build a culture where women can access the knowledge and support they need. In fact, Julia, a teacher from Chicago, she told me I was convinced I had early onset Alzheimer's. I'd forget the names of kids I'd taught for years. I'd stare at my lesson plans and feel like they were written in a foreign language. I thought I'd have to quit my job. Well, through education and support, she learned that her brain fog was hormonal, not permanent cognitive decline. And within months of targeted changes, she felt sharper and more confident and finally like herself again. And then there's Naomi. She's a small business owner who said, I started getting panic attacks in the middle of the store. I'd have to abandon my cart and run to my car because I felt like I was losing it. And Naomi's story highlights how menopause can create terrifying symptoms that mimic anxiety disorders. Yet, with the right understanding and strategies, these episodes can become far less frequent and less intense. Now, if you need more evidence that what you're feeling is real and rooted in biology, let's go a little deeper. Neuroimaging research from Weill Cornell Medicine shows that during menopause, gray matter volume in areas of the brain involved in memory and emotion temporarily shrinks. Yet those areas can recover and even strengthen after the menopause transition. Studies from the Journal of Clinical Endocrinology and Metabolism, well, they reveal that estrogen fluctuations can cause unpredictable spikes in monoamine oxidase A, which is an enzyme that breaks down serotonin and dopamine, further explaining why mood can spiral without warning. And then experts like Dr. Joanne Pinkerton, who's a past executive director of the North American Menopause Society, she emphasizes that recognizing the hormonal cause of these symptoms can dramatically reduce distress by helping women stop blaming themselves. So next time your mind blanks mid-sentence or your emotions feel out of control, remind yourself, this is biology, not weakness. Now, you've just learned exactly why menopause can feel like your brain and emotions are in revolt, but knowing what's happening is only the beginning. And in the next segment, we're going to take the understanding and turn it into practical, actionable steps because you deserve more than just knowledge. You deserve real tools that you can start using today to calm your mind, soothe your emotions, and start feeling like yourself again. So stay with me because what you learn next could be the turning point that helps you transform chaos into confidence. See you after this.
Clients are raving about Tafiq Akhir, widely known as Mr. Menopause, for helping them manage menopause and healthy aging with confidence, grace, and complete autonomy. Don't just take my word for it, listen for yourself.
You don't have flashes, Tafiq. I don't have hot flashes. That's crazy. Isn't that great?
I have diabetes. My A1C, which is the amount of sugar you have in your blood over a 3-month period, was an 8.6, which is horrible. It's just really, really awful. And so I went to the doctor like a week and a half after the 8-week program, and it was a 5.6. Now that's better than normal people have. My doctor took me off medication. It's just crazy.
I sleep better, absolutely. I have a lot more energy during the day.
I highly recommend it for those who are struggling with weight loss, obesity, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, high blood sugar, because my numbers have come down.
My back got lift. I have a little bit of abs, and my arms looks great.
Tafiq is very motivational. He sends daily emails. He's available if you have any questions. It's just a great program. Excuse me. He just changed my life. He he just gave me a life back that I just didn't think I could have. And I'm so grateful for him. And he dedicated 100%, 125% to us.
Feeling inspired? Take the first step to menopause empowerment. Complete the free Menopause Readiness Quiz at menopausereadinessquiz.com to see if one of Tafiq's programs can help change your life. You deserve support. You deserve to thrive. Complete the quiz today.
Welcome back. It's Tafiq Akhir, Mr. Menopause here, your host, and I am so proud of you for staying with me, because by now you know that menopause isn't some inconvenience or women's issue to just brush aside. It's a powerful, life-changing transition that can flip your mind and your body upside down. But today we're moving from understanding to action, because you deserve to start feeling calmer, clearer, and more like yourself again, starting now. And I'm going to give you 3 practical, easy to start steps that don't require expensive products or a total life overhaul. Just small changes that can give you immediate relief and build momentum. And if you're the type who loves a plan, well, remember, everything I'm about to share is captured in your optional companion workbook, ready to guide you with simple daily prompts. Just simply click the link in the description for this video to download your copy now. Now, step 1 is to calm your nervous system with intentional breathing. Now, I know, deep breathing sounds so basic. But here's the deal. It's one of the fastest, most powerful ways to interrupt the fight or flight cycle that your nervous system slips into when hormones are in chaos. When you intentionally breathe, you signal your vagus nerve, which is the major pathway between your brain and body, to switch from fight or flight to rest and digest mode. This doesn't just make you feel calmer in the moment. Research shows it can lower cortisol levels over time, retrain your brain's stress response, and even improve heart rate variability, a key indicator of resilience. Now, this simple breathing exercise that I teach my clients can help with that. You're going to sit down or just lie down comfortably, inhale slowly through your nose for 4 counts, and then you're going to exhale through your mouth with a big loud sigh, relaxing your shoulders as you do so. And you can repeat that for 2 to 5 minutes. And guess what? Even 1 round can help, but practicing daily can rewire your nervous system for greater calm long term. And my client Dina told me, she said, this breathing technique saved my marriage. Before, I'd react to every small annoyance like it was the end of the world. Now I pause and I breathe, and I'm able to respond with calm instead of exploding. See, breathing exercises like this are so simple that many people overlook them, but they're backed by science and studies in psychiatry research which found that the slow, controlled breathing can reduce anxiety up to 50% in just a few weeks of daily practice. Plus, let's be real, when menopause has you feeling like you're in a pressure cooker, you need a release valve that you can reach anytime, at work, home, or even in your car before you head inside the house. Well, breathing is that valve. Step 2, track your symptoms and your wins. See, you don't need to grab a fancy app either. Grab your notebook or your companion workbook that I've created for this episode, because in it you're going to find a daily log where you can jot down your emotional highs and lows, your physical symptoms like hot flashes, insomnia, or headaches, and even your wins, which can be small moments that you handle with more grace or clarity. And why track? Well, because awareness is the first step towards control. When you see patterns, you can start connecting them to triggers like stress, diet, or poor sleep, and take steps to minimize them. Plus, celebrating wins, even tiny ones, builds confidence. Studies show that journaling alone can actually reduce anxiety, improve mood, and help regulate emotional swings. You don't have to write a novel, just a few lines a day can change everything. In fact, Carla from Denver, she shared in a DM that she started writing down every time she lost her temper or felt like she was sad for no reason. Within a week, she realized it was always happening on days she skipped breakfast and drank too much coffee. She said, once I changed that, my mood swings weren't nearly as intense and I was much more calm. See, journaling also creates space for self compassion. Because when you write, I felt overwhelmed today, you're acknowledging your feelings without judgment. And that alone can be healing. Step three is to prioritize consistent rest, even if it's imperfect. Now, if menopause is robbing you of restful sleep, you're not alone. But here's a powerful truth. Even if you can't get 8 uninterrupted hours, you can train your body to rest better by creating a simple bedtime routine that signals to your brain that it's time to wind down. My favorite easy bedtime habits include: one, dimming the lights an hour before bed to mimic natural darkness. Two, turn off screens 30 minutes before sleep to protect melatonin production. Three, doing 5 minutes of gentle stretching or your breathing exercise. Four, writing down a short gratitude list or reflection in your companion workbook. And five, reminding yourself with a compassionate thought: I'm safe and I deserve rest. And remember, perfection is not the goal, consistency is. Because when your body recognizes your routine, well, it starts to anticipate rest, like a baby lulled by a familiar lullaby. So, why do these small steps make such a big difference? Well, because each one targets a different aspect of what menopause disrupts. Breathing calms the nervous system, cutting off the stress spiral. Tracking increases self awareness, turning confusion into clarity. Consistent rest repairs your mind and body so you wake up better equipped to face each day. Now, research from the American Psychological Association confirms that even modest, consistent changes to stress management, awareness practices, and sleep hygiene can significantly reduce menopause distress and help women regain a sense of control. Now, your optional companion workbook is designed to turn these steps into action by giving you guided pages for daily reflection on symptoms and wins. Breathing exercise instructions that you can keep by your bedside. Space to plan a bedtime routine that works for your unique needs, and simple checklists to track your progress without overwhelm. Because listen, when you write things down, you don't just record your journey, you own it. And owning your menopause experience is a giant step towards feeling empowered. And if you're one of those people who think I'm too busy for this, well, let me share what my client Sasha from Miami said. She said, I told myself I didn't have time, but then I started using the workbook for just 5 minutes a day. And within a month, I felt more in control than I have in years. Now, here's what I want you to remember above all else. The path through menopause is not a sprint. It's a series of small, brave steps that add up to big change. Every time you pause to breathe, every time you track a symptom instead of ignoring it, and every night that you set yourself up for better rest, you're not just surviving menopause, you are building a foundation to thrive through it. And don't underestimate the power of these tiny victories, because each one rewires your brain's relationship with stress and boosts your self-trust. And over time, they become the stepping stones to a menopause experience defined by clarity and confidence, not chaos. Now, I want you to know that there's no such thing as a perfect menopause plan. Some days you'll follow your bedtime routine, and some nights you'll end up eating popcorn on the couch watching reality TV until midnight, maybe even 3 a.m. And guess what? That's okay. The point isn't to aim for perfection. It's to keep moving forward. One breath, one reflection, one moment of kindness to yourself at a time. Because the real secret to thriving through menopause isn't getting everything right. It's learning to support yourself even when things go wrong. Now we're heading into the final segment of this episode, which is Ask Mr. Menopause, because you deserve answers to the most pressing personal concerns that might keep you awake at night. So stay with me, because this is where it gets personal, real, and incredibly empowering. See you after this.
Take a moment to subscribe for expert tips, real talk, and no fluff support. Brought to you by Mr. Menopause himself, Tafiq Akhir, a certified award-winning menopause strategist, best-selling author, speaker, and the host of the Mr. Menopause Show, streaming weekly on Bold Brave TV. Have you subscribed yet?
Welcome back. It's Mr. Menopause here, and it is time for Ask Mr. Menopause, where I answer your real heartfelt questions. Now, your struggles and your victories deserve to be heard, and there is no better way to know that you're not alone than seeing how many others share their fears, their frustrations, and their hopes. And hey, maybe you can share yours. And the first question comes from Sarah from Cleveland. She says, "Why do I feel so overwhelmed by even the smallest things lately? I used to handle stress well, but now I feel like I'm drowning in daily tasks." Well, Sarah, you are absolutely not alone. First of all, what you're experiencing is a classic sign of hormonal shifts affecting your brain's ability to regulate stress. See, declining estrogen disrupts neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, and rising cortisol, well, it makes minor stresses feel even more monumental. So start by practicing the intentional breathing exercise from earlier, especially before tasks that overwhelm you. And then track your overwhelm in the companion workbook, because you may spot patterns that are tied to poor sleep, skipped meals, or high stress days that you can start to change. Remember, small adjustments can create big shifts in how you feel. Question 2 is from Joanne from Sacramento, and she asks, "My emotions are all over the place. One minute I'm fine, the next I'm crying. How do I know if it's menopause or if it's something else?" Well, Joanne, thank you for your honesty, because so many women are afraid to ask this question. Sudden, unpredictable mood swings are one of the earliest and most common signs of perimenopause. But if they're so intense that they lead to thoughts of harming yourself or others, or if you feel hopeless for days at end, or look, please speak with your doctor or a mental health professional right away, because sometimes menopause can actually exacerbate pre-existing depression or anxiety disorders that may need some more assistance. Now, but for most women, tracking emotions and practicing daily relaxation can make a big difference. And remember, again, you're not alone, you're not crazy, you're experiencing the very real brain effects of fluctuating hormones. Question 3, Pam from Chicago asks, "I can't sleep more than a few hours at a time. I'm exhausted and my brain feels foggy all day. What can I do?" Pam, thank you so much for this question, and it is one of the most challenging symptoms, which is sleep disruption. Of course, the hormone progesterone promotes deep sleep, and as it declines, your sleep architecture can become fragmented. Combine that with cortisol spikes at night, and it's a recipe for exhaustion. Now, my go-to strategy is to set a consistent bedtime routine, even if you can't sleep through the night. Keep your room dark, cool, and free of screens. Practice your breathing exercise before bed, and use the companion workbook's nightly reflection pages to release the day's worries. And over time, these small habits can retrain your body's natural sleep rhythms. Question 4, Lydia from the ATL asks, "I've gained 15 pounds even though I'm eating the same way I always have. Is this normal?" Well, Lydia, I hear this all the time. And yes, it's incredibly normal, but I know it's frustrating as well. So as estrogen declines, it can affect insulin sensitivity, cortisol levels, and metabolic rate, which also makes it easier for you to gain weight, especially around your midsection. And that's even without changing your diet or your exercise. Now, instead of punishing yourself with restrictive eating, Focus on balancing blood sugar with protein-rich meals, drinking plenty of water, and moving your body in ways that feel good. And remember, tracking your meals and energy levels is in your companion workbook, and it can reveal patterns that help you regain control without resorting to crash dieting. Question 5 is from Dawn from Dallas, and she asks, is it normal to feel like I don't recognize myself anymore? I used to be confident, but now I second guess everything. Dawn, thank you so much for your vulnerability, because you are, again, not alone, because menopause can strip away confidence because it disrupts your brain chemicals, and that can affect focus, memory, emotional stability, and it can leave you feeling like a stranger in your own body. But look, this doesn't mean that you've lost who you are forever. By understanding what's happening inside your body and practicing small confidence building steps like those in this episode, you can start to feel like yourself again. Remember, this is a phase, not a permanent state of being. Question 6 is from Rena from Portland, and she asked, how do I know if my doctor actually understands menopause? I feel like mine just brushes me off. Well, Rena, I'm so glad you asked this, because I get a message about this at least a couple times per week. And they might tell you it's just stress or that you're just getting older, when the reality is you deserve real answers. I encourage you to watch my episode on 5 questions to ask your doctor about menopause, where I walk you through exactly what to ask to determine whether your provider has the knowledge and compassion to support you. And if your doctor dismisses your symptoms or refuses to discuss options, that's a sign that it may be time to look for a menopause-informed provider who will listen, validate, and partner with you on your journey. And I want to thank everyone who submitted questions today, because your honesty helps others to realize that they're not alone. Now, the takeaway that I hope to inspire with this episode is simple, yet I believe powerful, and that's menopause is not the end of your vitality, your confidence, or your joy. It's a profound transition that, when it's understood and supported, can become a gateway to greater strength, greater wisdom, and self-compassion, more than you've ever known before. Now, you are not weak, broken, or alone. You are navigating one of life's most challenging and ultimately liberating phases of a woman's life. And by understanding what's happening inside your body, taking small daily steps to soothe your mind and nurture your spirit, and seeking the compassionate support that you deserve, you can move beyond fear and confusion into a season of renewed power. Remember, every breath you take, every symptom you track, and every time you choose rest over self-criticism, it brings you closer to feeling like yourself again. Collectively, we can all make this journey one of empowerment and renewed strength for the women we care about. And as always, I'm Mr. Menopause, your guide and ally, here to take this journey with you every step of the way. Until next time, stay safe and be well.